Welcome everyone. So today we're going to talk about natural light, and this is part one of the natural light, and on part two we will dive deeper, but right now we're just focused on the basics. So let's just dive in. So natural light in general is one of the most easiest things especially when you're starting out with photography, but there are definitely some things that you have to consider before you dive in, and some things you need to know to make the best photos on Earth. So, okay, maybe not the best ones, but definitely the good ones. So when you're working with natural light, it's essential to consider your light source all the time, because thing is that the sun is always moving. So it's not like continuous light when you have always the same setup, but sometimes it's like the sun comes out and then the sun goes back behind the cloud, or the sun goes behind the, I don't know, house or tree or whatever. So definitely consider this one because the light is always changing. And the easiest thing to get started with photography and with photography is indoors, and then you can use natural light and especially window light. So quite often what beginners usually do is that they start shooting in the kitchen. They think it's like, yeah, you're cooking in the kitchen, so you should do photography in the kitchen as well. But the thing is that you don't need to you don't need to have this one in the kitchen. For example, at first when I started out, I did my photography in the dark kitchen, and this wasn't a good idea, like whatsoever. And then soon I realized that I should move to another room. So in my office, and there I had like a big north facing window, and this one was like super good for my photography. And it also like depends on which side of the world basically you are, because for example when I started in Estonia, then yeah, it was like most of the time it's cloudy here, and then like I have like a natural softbox. And then for example when I moved to Portugal, then the light conditions completely changed. So at first I was a little bit confused, like how should I work here. And at some point I figured it out, because there was like way more sun and way more daylight in general. But yeah, you need to like consider like these kind of little things before you start working with natural light. So definitely make sure that you have a good window light that is that is like making sure that you have a good lighting there in general. And then the second thing you always have to do is that you have to switch off all the other lights. So all the daylights or all other lights that you have in your room, and then make sure you only have your natural light. So this is one of the main things that people forget, and sometimes I forget this one in the beginning as well. But when you start shooting, then you understand that something is completely wrong. So what you have to do is that you just have to switch off all your lights, and then you can keep going. And then another thing you have to consider is that don't use harsh light, because with harsh light you will get some weird highlights, some weird shadows, and in general it's like a big mess. So definitely don't use direct sunlight. So what you can do is that you can use a professional diffuser, or what you can also do is that you can tape a white curtain or a white bed sheet on your window, and this one makes sure that the light is super nicely diffused, and you don't have like harsh light coming to the food and like highlights clipping and everything, considering with the histogram in general. So if you look at our histogram session, then you understand like what do I mean by highlights clipping. And then with this one, you can easily remove these ones when you have like the white bed sheet or white curtain on your window. But again, like if you have a cloudy day, the sky is completely covered with clouds, then you might not even need like a white curtain or a diffuser. And then, for example, if you look at like these kind of behind the scenes, then you can see that the behind the scenes can sometimes be super messy and super weird. But you can see if it's like, if you have made the photo and the framing nicely, then it looks like super nice. And then another option is that you can go outdoors. And for example, you want to shoot a super nice picnic or yeah, something like that, then definitely consider the time of the day you're going, because for example, lunchtime is obviously not the best time unless you have a full of clouds day. But the golden hour in general is one of the photographers' like obsession, because the golden hour is before the sunset or after the sunrise. So it's like the 1 hour when the light is like pure magic, and it's literally pure magic. It's sometimes I feel like when I shoot photos on the golden hour, then all the photos are just looking like fabulous. Doesn't matter what I'm shooting, but the photos are looking fabulous, because the light is like pure magic. And then what I also recommend you guys to do is start observing the light. So what you can do is, for example, you go for a walk, you go and I don't know, you have dinner, and you don't have your camera always with you. But what you can do is that you can start training your eyes. How do you look at things, and how is it like? How is it working with the subject? How is the light working? How is the sun setting? And like these little things. And then you, with this one, you basically start training your eyes as well. And that's why I even like sometimes recommend you guys to play around with phone photography, because phone photography in general is super limited, but you can still learn a lot about composition and light, because again, like you have limited options with phones in general. So what you can do is that you can just observe the light, study light, read a lot of books about light, and in general get to know the light super well, because light in general can be such a creative tool. You can do magic. You can literally do magic with this one. And another thing that you can do is that obviously if it's like a harsh light and there's like no other option, then just go to the shade or like under the tree, where at least like some of the lights gets like blocked, and then you also have like a good light conditions. Or you can always like carry a diffuser with you, so you would block like the same thing, but was like with the window light, is that you block the window with a diffuser. So it's the same thing you can do with your scene when you're outdoors. And then yeah, you can easily diffuse the light in general if it's like too harsh and the sun is shining like next level. And then what you can also do is that definitely like study the location you're going to have the picnic. Like nowadays there are like so many apps where you can see like where the sun sets and where is the sunrise, because quite often you have like, for example, some kind of place in your mind outdoor when you want to shoot like the super beautiful picnic, but the sun is not there, or the sunset is not there. The sun is there in the morning, or the other way around. So definitely find the right location in general before you go outdoors. Or you can even like, I don't know, go there like one day before and like just scout the whole location in general. And then with the manual mode settings, you definitely have to consider the thing that the light is constantly moving. And sometimes, for example, lately I was just shooting some mushrooms in the forest, and there I saw like 15 seconds later and the sun would have been gone from the mushrooms. And it's like crazy how quickly the sun is moving, and you might even like need to change the settings super quickly. So definitely consider like those little things before you shoot outdoors. Thank you for watching. I hope it was useful, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.